Welcome back to another episode of Will It Build Warframe Edition, where the rules are simple. Down in the description below in our Discord server, you can submit your build in the Will It Build Warframe channel for the entire community to see and for us to try it out here on stream. If we like it, and I gotta tell you, we usually do because you guys submit some absolutely spectacular builds, then you win a spin on our prize wheel, the grand prize of which, of course, is Prime access. Today, I'm really excited for this one because we've got a Zephyr build, which is not only a very beginner-friendly frame, considering that you can obtain Zephyr simply by being a part of a clan that has the Zephyr research done in a clan dojo, and pretty much any clan that exists is going to have that research done. What makes me even more excited for this build as well is that the mod setup for the build is very beginner-friendly as well, as the submitter of the build has given us two different mod setups for Zephyr, one for a player that's going to be a little bit newer and might not have access to all the mods in the game, and the second that is going to be a little bit more endgame focused, a little bit more min-maxing. The submitter of the build, the duplicate dog, says that even with the first setup, the more beginner setup that requires no forma and no potato into her, you'll still be able to nuke steel path. They say your main survivability with the first setup is going to be our third ability and us killing things by slamming our head into the ground with our first ability. The second build that they recommend for us, which is a bit more of a complicated mod setup that's going to be a little bit more investment into Zephyr, maybe a forma, maybe a potato, is for her to be able to nuke everything. They say for both builds, they would actually recommend not using weapons at all and having a shade companion with the ghost mod, which will greatly improve our survivability. So let's get right into it. First things first, before we start building out Zephyr, let's talk about what her abilities do, because I'm actually not very familiar with Zephyr's kit whatsoever. Her passive is that Zephyr moves faster and falls slower while airborne, also gain 150% critical hit chance with weapons while airborne. Zephyr's 1, Tailwind, hold while airborne to hover Zephyr with reduced movement. From the air, tap to dash forward, or aim down to dive bomb enemies below. Okay, so basically if we get like a little jump going and we hold the 1, and I'm not holding it anymore, I just held it briefly, and so that will suspend us in the air. This is going to give us that 150% crit chance, and it looks like we're losing a little bit of energy as we remain. We can tap it to dash forward, and that is going to take us out of the float, so I'm thinking if we jump up and we hold it, and then we do a tap, and then we hold it again, are we going to be able to, like, redo? So, like, what if I do something like this, and then hold it again? Okay, so you can do that. You can dash and then hold it again, and all that good stuff. And then if we look down when we do the tap, there's the headbutt bonk that I think that they referenced previously. Looking at Zephyr's other abilities, though, too, we have Air Burst. Launch a burst of massively dense air. Hold to send enemies flying, tap to pull them toward the burst. Damage increases per enemy hit. Okay, so if we maybe come over here, let's do a little dash up actually, so we got like a little sky view. And so if I do the tap, it brings them all together, but if I do the hold, that's funny. That is a very, very amusing ability. Zephyr's 3 is going to be Turbulence, where we create a wind shield around Zephyr, redirecting all incoming projectiles, which is probably, I would imagine, going to be the main form of our survivability. Oh, now they're being coy. Now they don't want to shoot at me. What, am I invisible or something? Come on now. Oh, they are shooting at me. It's redeflecting things from so far away that I'm just not even seeing the bullets. Anyway, finally, her 4 is going to be Tornado, where we create deadly tornadoes that seek out and engulf enemies. Tornadoes deal the elemental damage type they absorb the most. Shoot engulfed enemies to inflict extra damage. Hold for stationary tornadoes, or tap for wandering ones. Okay. If I shoot my own tornado with a weapon, will it then absorb the elemental type of my weapon that I'm shooting the tornado with, or does it only absorb shots from enemies? Yes, so it sucks up my elements as well. That sounded interesting. Oh, and then if I shoot into the tornadoes send the bullets flying up in the... What if I, This is the popcorn machine Zephyr build. We were told that this build doesn't even need weapons to be successful. And that takes me to our mod setup. And we're first going to go with the mod setup that does not require any potato or any forma. I'm currently on Zephyr Prime, so that's why I have a couple of polarization slots right now. We're gonna see if this initial mod setup would work on base Zephyr though, based on the capacity. Aerodynamic aura mod. Squad takes 4% reduced damage while airborne and gains plus 1 seconds of aim, glide, / wall latch duration. And if we upgrade all the way, we actually take 24% reduced damage, which makes sense. We're probably going to be airborne pretty much the entire time. And that's going to spike our capacity up to 44 before we do any formas or potato. So we got continuity in slot 1, which is going to increase our ability duration by 30%. The nice thing about that is it looks like for our tailwind, that is going to reduce the energy drain per second. It's going to go from 5 energy drain per second down to 3.85. Streamline as well right here for 30% bonus ability efficiency, which is going to take our initial drain activation down to 17.5 and our drain per second down to 2.69. Next mod we got going on is going to be Stretch, which is going to give us 45% bonus ability range. That will probably increase the radius of our dive bomb, right? It will. So it'll take it from 7 meters up to 10.15 meters. So our dive bomb is going to have a little bit more AoE going on. Next up, we've got Boreal's Hatred, which is going to give us 65% bonus shield capacity, as well as 15% bonus ability efficiency. Next up, we are going to have Augur Message, which is going to give us 24% bonus ability duration in conjunction with Augur Reach, which is going to give us 30% bonus ability range. And with both of these mods on, we're also going to get 2 slots into the set bonus, which is going to make it so that 80% of our energy spent on abilities is going to be converted into our shields. The final mod for the build version 1 that's not going to require any forma or investment or potato is going to be Zephyr's augment mod, Target Fixation, which is a tailwind Tailwind Augment. Casting Tailwind resets Zephyr's bullet jump, and each enemy hit increases Tailwind damage by 100%. Damage resets upon being on the ground for 2 seconds. Ooh. Typically in mods like this, it usually says something along the lines of like caps at X amount of stacks. Does this scale infinitely? This infinite scaling? Wow. Unfortunately, I cannot fit it. This beginner build is slightly less beginner friendly than originally anticipated. Fellas, in all y'all's opinion, if we wanted to go potatoless on this, which mod would we drop to make room for target fixation? Obviously, once we put in a potato, we can fit in target fixation and upgrade some of these mods to better versions. One of the Augur mods. Okay. I feel like we lose the Boreal's Hatred mod, to be honest. I mean, really what I like is having both of these on for the 80% energy spent on converted to shields. I really like the ability range here because it makes the radius of my dive bomb bigger. And I like the duration a lot because it makes my drain per second not nearly as bad. Let's just see what's going on. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so basically what we're going to want to do is we go airborne by holding, and then we dive bomb. And so right now I have a 200% damage bonus. And then if I dive bomb again, now I have a 400%. Did I say 100? I meant 1,000, sorry. So it's just this? Yeah, you're right. You actually don't need any weapons at all. It stacks infinitely. Are you serious? What I'm noticing too is you don't even need to necessarily jump up and then hold to do the float and then dive bomb. You can just, as long as you're airborne, and you press 1 while looking down at the ground, you do the dive bomb. If you crouch, look down, and jump, it should make you bullet jump up. Crouch, look down, and jump. Okay. Oh, you're right. You can even just like double jump too. You don't even really need to bullet jump up. And then as well, what I can do is, if I wanted to, not that it's necessary for this pack of enemies because they're close enough together, my range is good enough, but like if I had like a big pack of enemies I was trying to deal with, I could throw my 2 to group everything up and then go. Now, Guys, should we test this out in, you guys said do Steel Path Kuva Fortress Survival? Small roofs for this build, but yes. Well, listen, here's the thing. If it works in small roofed rooms, then it can work literally anywhere, right? So basically, I'm thinking what I do is I just make sure my 3 is always up, and then I just run around and I do this. Yeah, if it can work in this, which it is, I'm already at a 26,000, 28,000 damage buff. If it can work in this, yeah, it can work anywhere. This is Steel Path, by the way. This is Steel Path, no Forma, no Potato, no Companion, no weapon setup, no Archon shards, no nothing. Yeah, and I am having no problem. I mean, it's a little... it feels a little janky in the... You know, don't get me wrong. But, like, just because, like, camera angles and stuff like that. But if it's working just fine in these concentrated hallways with very low roofs, it can work in literally any environment in the entire game. You don't have to get high up. It's not like the damage is based on height. And even if it was, you know, it might be, I don't know. Even if the damage was based on height, doesn't really matter because once we're stacked up enough, we're one-hitting everything. So you're telling me this thing gets even better, not that it's necessary, but it gets even better if we use Shade Prime. We have the Ghost mod. Cloak's owner, when enemies are within 24 meters, the cloak is disrupted if owner attacks. So we're just even like more invincible than we already are because we have our 3 so that bullets literally bounce off us. But now, just to make things even easier for us, we're invisible permanently. Aside from when we do our headbutt. Cuirass does it better. The Kubrau cloaks itself and its master to stalk down its prey when they are within 14 meters. Oh, so is this literally just Ghost, but with the added benefit that you don't go invisible, or you don't come out of invisibility when you attack? So you're just permanently invisible? Always 24/7. And then as well, that is true. If we do this, since we're on a animal companion as opposed to a robotic, we can then also use resourceful retriever, throw on animal instinct as well, because why not? Okay, but the question is, if we want to go with the potato mod setup, which not that it's really necessary at all, because this mod setup already obliterated everything. If we do want to min-max a little bit more and we want to make things better, what is that going to look like? Obviously, we're keeping target fixation. That goes without being said. We're also going to be keeping stretch for 45% bonus ability range. We're going to be keeping streamline for 30% bonus ability efficiency. And we're going to be slotting in overextended for 90% bonus ability range at the cost of 60% of our ability strength, which just means our headbutts are going to be even bigger. That's going to bring them up to 16.45 meters. And I know this is going to reduce our damage, but does that really matter if we have target fixation and we're scaling it up into the hundreds of thousands of percentages? We are going to keep Boreal's Hatred for bonus ability efficiency and shield capacity. And they're also going to have a slot in Fleeting Expertise for 60% bonus ability efficiency at the cost of 60% of our ability duration. And then what are we finishing off with? We're maintaining Augur Reach for 30% bonus ability range, which I love. I love having as much range as humanly possible. We should also flip Fleeting Expertise with Stretch so we get a little bit more mileage out of the polarization slot. We're rounding things out with Cunning Drift, which is going to give us plus 12% slide, minus 30% friction, and 15% bonus ability range. They also have an Exilis slot plugged in. What do they have there? They also have Aviator, which is going to reduce damage by 10% while airborne. I see the angle for it, but honestly, I think that's completely unnecessary when you consider the fact that you're invisible from your pet and you have your 3, so all the bullets get deflected anyway. You're way over the 175% efficiency cap. Oh, so I'm learning something new here. So you're telling me that the highest efficiency you can get is 175%. You get nothing over 175? Okay, interesting. So I noticed that when I take off Fleeting Expertise, instead of docking me 60% ability efficiency, or rather, let's do the example when I put it on, I'm currently at 145%. And when I slot it in, instead of giving me 60%, it only gives me 30%. So we can actually lose some mods if we want to, that are giving us ability efficiency, like Streamline. Look at this. If we take off Streamline, 175%, remove Streamline, still 175%. Doesn't even change at all. Factoring in for channeled abilities, but we're not really using channeled abilities here. I guess maybe we could slot in Primed Continuity. What do you guys say would be a good call? That way we get bonus ability duration, so our 3 is up a little bit more frequently, and so we have less energy drain. Not that the energy drain on our Tailwind really even matters anyway, because we're not really necessarily doing the whole floating in the air type thing, but it does give us that option, and we can actually swap it with Alga Reach, and we still have 16 capacity left over if we wanted to. I feel like there's ways you could min-max this even further if you really wanted to, but like, to be completely honest, I don't even think that's necessary because, I mean, we were one-shotting everything with the previous build. We're probably going to continue to one-shot everything. We've also got some Arcanes. They're slotting in Arcane Energize, and I believe they had Molt Augmented in as well. No, they had Molt Reconstruct. Heal yourself and allies within affinity range, 3 health for each energy point spent on the initial casting cost of abilities. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, I feel like neither of these are really necessary at all. So if you don't have a rank 5 Arcane Energize, I don't think it's a big deal at all. If you don't have an Exilus Warframe adapter to slot in there so that you can use Aviator, I don't think it's a big deal at all because you're really not taking damage at all. Probably don't need a lot of this stuff. I mean, we already proved you don't need it. I guess what you could do, to be honest, what I would do personally is I would probably, if I wanted to spend an Exilus Warframe adapter, I'd probably spend it, move Cunning Drift up there because it's an Exilus mod, and then I'd probably do something that would like give me loads of strength to make my damage. I mean, it's just not necessary though. There's no point. There's no point in spending resources on this stuff because you're one-shotting everything always anyway. So yeah, to start out, damage is kind of rough, but we just got to get stacking, right? 26k, 30k. Oh, more enemies? They brought in more enemies thinking that would be a problem for me? Dude, the range as well? I'm blowing things up from so far away. We're gonna do a little float for a second. I kind of want to let the enemies group up a little bit. I'm hitting for 1.5 mil now. Don't let Digital Extremes see this. This is so busted. You know that Digital Extremes is the one that made this mod scale infinitely, right? They kind of like developed the game. You can use air burst. Oh, true. So hold up. We'll do our float. We'll pop our 2 for the air burst. Suck in all the enemies. Currently, we have 124 kills. Come on, fellas. Okay, we just killed 20 enemies just like that. Wait a minute, I just kind of noticed something. If you have a tanky enemy and you dive bomb on them, but you don't kill them, but if you like dive bomb like right on their head, you like sort of bounce off of them. And then you can just do another dive bomb right away without any like button inputs or jumping or bullet, like nothing. You just bounce off them and then you go right back up into the air. The funny thing is, like, even though we're not one-shotting this fella, we're invisible the entire time. They can't see us. I haven't used my 3 ability a single time yet, by the way. It's like, if you don't have this pet, if you don't have this companion, either of them, either Shade with Ghost or this Kubrau with Stalk, like, you're still good to go. All you have to do is just have your 3 up. How fast can we get in terms of, like, traversal? Oh, we can just spam R1 for our midair dash? Wait, that's sick. Yeah, this one definitely builds you. My favorite thing, like, listen, is it as like flashy or complicated or min-maxy as other builds? No, absolutely not. But like, that's not what the point of this build is. I think it's really important to recognize that. The point of this build is that if you're someone who has been playing Warframe for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, as long as you're in a clan, as long as you found a dojo to get involved with, you can go ahead and use that initial beginner mod setup. Even if you're a beginner, you're probably not going to have access to Augur Message and Augur Reach unless you're doing a lot of Cetus bounties, and you're obviously not going to have access to Boreal's Hatred, but you get these mods pretty quickly. Target Fixation you can get just by allying with a Syndicate. That comes pretty quick. Target Fixation, a couple mods to help you out with your duration and your overall energy, and that's it. What's like also really cool about this is, as a beginner, you can iterate on it and make it better as you get from mod configuration 1 and you start to unlock some of the more endgame mods, I suppose you would call them, like Fleeting Expertise and Overextended, coming from Corrupted Vaults and things of that nature, coming from the Dragon Keys. You can iterate on it. It kind of teaches you a little bit about build crafting and slowly upgrading your frames and things of that nature, but you don't need any formas, you don't need any potatoes. Also, generally speaking, Zephyr, just a really cool looking frame. Speaking of which, if you guys are curious about the appearance, my primary and secondary colors are purple, so I've got one from the Eminence palette, and then my secondary I did just like a slightly different shade of purple also from the Eminence palette. My tertiary color is from the Corpus palette, top left, but you can use pretty much any white that you like. My accent colors from the Orkin palette to get those nice gold edges on everything, which I like quite a bit. Emissive, I've got Eminence palette bottom left in conjunction with the Agony palette in the top right. And then my energy color, also from the Eminence palette, first column, about middle row. I've got the Zephyr Harrier helmet, and then I just have the Zephyr Prime base. You could also go with the Harrier base if you wanted to. I'm not a huge fan personally of like the full robotic look. And then for our attachments, the Alastorn chest plate. I've got Averiti shoulder armor, which is a 10 gen, so you'll need to spend some real money to get this cosmetic if you want. But good thing is you're supporting a Warframe community artist in doing so. We've got the Pakal leg guards, and then our Cyandana is also going to be another 10 gen item in the Draugen Cyandana. So, will it build? Absolutely yes, it'll build. Without a shadow of a doubt, which means it wins a spin on our wheel. Let's spin that wheel, see what they get.
Hey, spinning the wheel. Let's see what you get. Let's see what you get.
And we have got a potato bundle, which is going to be 2 potatoes, either one of each, 2 blues, or 2 regular potatoes, completely up to them. And of course, if you want a chance to get a spin on that nice reward wheel, as well as share your incredible build, your incredible original creation, unique build with the entire community, it's very easy. All you got to do is head to the description and join the Discord server link down below, where you can submit your build in the Will It Build Warframe channel. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see the next one. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a great day.